What's up, people? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to Alphonso Speaks. Welcome to the live stream. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody has had a beautiful Wednesday. There is a lot going on in the world right now. So I kind of figured it'd be a great time to jump on a live. Like there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world of true crime, in the world of politics, anything, everything you can think of. There is so much going on right now. Um, we have the situation with that singer David and the disappearing teenager, which everybody kind of figured he had something to do with from the beginning. And now it looks to be confirmed he is being investigated as a suspect in that murder. You have everything that's been going on with the Epstein files, for example. A lot of stuff going on there, a lot of confusion, but also a lot of clarity coming. Um, and then, of course, earlier today did a video on the situation with Daryl Brooks and, what we are seeing when it comes to his appeal. And he seems to be running out of time with that appeal. It doesn't seem like things are really going his way there. So yeah, this is there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. 3:30 in the morning and you're watching my live. What's going on, man? How's everything going for you? Everything on this side of the world? Um, as far as me and my household, it's great. As far as the state of the world, man, I don't know sometimes. I really, really don't know. Um, there's a lot of chaos happening in the world right now. A lot. But again, we press on, right? We press on. We find the good that's going on, and and we keep moving forward. We keep moving forward. What's going on, Super Kelly? Um, yeah, I think we are very very close to seeing the end of Daryl Brooks. Like for good. Um, again, if somebody interviews him, you know, hey, that's one thing. I'm not going to sit here and say that if given the opportunity to get an interview with him on this channel, I would turn it down. I just don't think that's ever going to happen because he's so narcissistic that the moment anybody tries to approach him for any type of interview, he's going to demand that they put money on his books. And I'm not putting money on his books. I'm not helping him buy candy and cigarettes and honey buns. No, no, you're going to eat the stale cornbread that you are being provided, and that's it. I'm not helping your jail experience whatsoever. But yeah, guys, it's there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff going on in this world today. Um, I'm curious uh about where you guys stand on the Epstein files. What's going on with that? Are you at all invested in what's going on in the Epstein files? I am. I am invested in what's going on in the Epstein files. Um, I want to know who's in them. Obviously, from both sides. I'm not somebody who's a registered Democrat nor a registered Republican. I really don't care. I don't believe in the two parties at all. I believe in just solid men and women who care about the communities that they've been charged to serve, right? And I want to know who's in those files, and I want to know what role they're playing in our government. And there's a lot going on. We want justice for those victims, obviously, and that's obviously a huge part of it. But also a huge part of it is understanding. Um, is there any leverage that any foreign countries are having over our politicians here in the United States? Um, there's been a lot of talk of like America first, America first, America first, but All of our tax money seems to be going to everywhere other than America, and you have to wonder why. And I think the Epstein files are a huge part of that. Um, I think it's one of those things where if politicians are being blackmailed and they're making certain decisions based on information that they don't want to come out, then I want that information to come out. Um, I'm completely comfortable with the idea of our current government just being completely dismantled and we, build something anew. Something that actually serves the people you know, uh, um, who are elected to represent us. Not corporations, not, the top 1%, but actual people, individuals. Um, and I do think the Epstein files have a lot to do with that. But we'll see. We'll see where things go as far as that goes as time continues to move along here. Um, and again, I really don't care who's in it. Like, I wouldn't care if Obama is in it. If Obama's in the files, he needs to go to jail. That's the way that I see it. So I don't idolize any of these politicians. I just want the politicians that um we are literally electing to represent us to be representing us. And I need them to be people of good judgment, good character. And if they're not, they need to go. And anybody who's had anything to do with any of Epstein's crimes, they need to go. All of them. I don't care who they are. Makes no difference to me. But I do want to take a look at something other than the Epstein files real quick. You guys have probably seen the case near David, um, and that missing 14-year-old girl who was recently found. Uh, and I want to take a look at that now because David has officially been named as a suspect. I don't like how that looks. You guys like how that looks? I don't like that. I like this better, but I still don't like it. Let me see. Hold on. I know there's some things I can do here. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Gonna change that to that. Yeah. And we're gonna change that to this. Okay. And then we'll up our size here. Yeah, there we go. All right, you guys are seeing me make my adjustments in real time. There it is. There it is. Um, yeah, Kimmy, same for me. I'd like to know where all this money is coming from. Like all of a sudden Saudi Arabia is building a military base in the United States. That's like unheard of, you know. When I was in the military, like one of the things that I was really always I was always like so curious about was like how do we have these bases overseas? Like I served on like three different bases overseas during my time in the Air Force. I was at Aviano. I did a TDY to Lake and Heath, which is in England. Aviano's in Italy. Uh, Lake and Heath is in the UK. Um, and I also did yes, Qatar, not the Saudis, not Saudi Arabia. Um, Saudi Arabia is making its mark in a lot of other ways, but yeah, Qatar is the one that we have allowed a contract to build a military base in our country. It's just a little odd to me. I don't know. Um, like part of me is like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Because I'm not like how do I say this? I love I love America. I love being an American, but I love the world first, if that makes sense. Um, the whole borderlines of everything has always just kind of been weird to me. Like I know why they exist, but they also just it's just weird to me, you know? Like I understand the whole territory thing and jurisdiction thing and stuff like that, but My first priority is the world as a whole. Like, I want everybody to be okay and happy, and I know that's not ever going to be a reality, and that's fine. But like, that's just where my mindset typically is. Where I start thinking of, oh, America first is okay. We have this taxpayer money that is supposed to make sure that everybody in our country is straight, right? Like, we live here. And so our taxpayer money is supposed to go here to make sure that we are good here. Okay. It's the same to me as you being in your household, right? Like, if I'm in my household, the money that I make when I'm working on my job is supposed to go to my household. It's not supposed to, like, oh, all of a sudden I'm doing my budget with my wife, and then I find out, we're making 6,000 a month together, and 4,000 of that money is going to a friend of ours. That doesn't make sense, right? It's supposed to go to our bills first. We need to make sure that our stuff is on, we're eating, we have electricity, Wi-Fi, gas in our car notice paid, right? Like, it's the same concept, right? So why is it that money is being taken out of our checks that is supposed to go to our communities and it's going overseas? Like, I understand, we have allies, we help each other out and things like that, right? But like, there is an absurd amount of money going to these other countries. And that's the part that I don't understand. It's the absurd amount of money while problems here are not yet solved. It's so strange to me because when you think about it, if you're in those leadership positions, why would you not appease your people first and then give away as much money as you want? I don't understand. I just don't understand it. It's like, if you actually were taking care of American citizens first, we probably wouldn't even be paying attention to where this other billions of dollars is going. Because as long as we feel like we're good and we're taken care of, we're not really thinking about where the other money is going. like like, why we're so hyper focused on, oh, 40 billion to Argentina, and 300 billion to Israel, and however many billion to Saudi Arabia, or whatever it is that we're paying to any other country. You know why we're so hyper focused on that? Because we're like, bro, but our stuff ain't together here. Our gas prices keep going up, our grocery prices keep going up, the interest rates on homes keep going up. Like, why is my interest rate at 5.75% when interest rates for my parents used to be like 2-3%? What happened? What's going on? Right? Why are there still veterans that I served with that are living out on the street? That doesn't make any sense, right? So like, when we start talking about giving away money, our problems should be fixed. And like, cool, I can understand if we're getting a return on investment, but even if we're getting a return on investment, you have to understand that money is not going to solving our problems here. Donald Trump is spending, I don't know how many million, I forgot the exact number, but he's spending millions upon millions on a ballroom to add to the White House. Unnecessary, nobody asked for it. But a ballroom to add to the White House when we have people homeless on the streets. It doesn't make any sense, right? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it at all. Just don't get it. But we'll come back to that. We'll have a longer discussion about that. I do want to check this out real quick though. Because it's a case I've been thinking about getting into, but I wasn't necessarily sure if I wanted to get into it yet. But now that he's been named as a suspect, now I'm like, it's really piquing my interest. Which, I thought he was going to be named as a suspect to begin with, but here we go.
It is now being reported that David may officially be a suspect in connection with the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. After this missing girl's decomposed body was found in his car 2 months ago, this is a major development. Strange, considering recent reports, but major nonetheless. Oh, and TMZ is now reporting that LAPD may now be looking at this as a homicide case. If all of this is in fact true, what does this mean for him and this investigation? Well,
What I don't get is what do you mean you may be looking at this as a homicide case? Wasn't all that was found was like a head and a torso? Like, I'm sorry, did she chop her own arms and legs off? Like, how could that ever be ruled a suicide? And so after basically turning herself into a human chicken nugget, she then stuffs herself in a Tesla trunk. Like, at what point, right, do these investigators just start using their brains and maybe think a little bit about what makes sense here and what doesn't? Like, okay, maybe they weren't saying that David is a suspect because they didn't want him to, uh, as the kids would say, do the race, flee the country, all that stuff. Um, I'm not understanding. I'm so confused about how it took so long for this to be investigated as a homicide. That doesn't make sense, but let's keep going.
welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Real quick, before we go any further, gotta say this. If you're in the content creation game, have you ever wondered how we're able to get these stories, these clips out so fast? I'm gonna give you a scene footage. Your one
No,
ghost
I have
story,
not.
arrests that are imminent. Now, death. Confusing, to say the least. I mean, we just reported yesterday that TMZ came out and confirmed that the LAPD told them that there were no arrests that are imminent in the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose decomposed body was found in a Tesla that was registered to singer David. Her body was found September 8th. But now, outlets like TMZ and ABC News, they have just reported that sources confirmed to them that David, real name David Anthony Burke, is now considered a suspect. Now, the LAPD didn't come out and say this for sure. They didn't confirm it, but this is what is being reported. And TMZ, by the way, reported that they are being told that the LAPD is in fact looking at this as a homicide investigation. And they even cite how a source is reportedly telling them that the investigation found that David allegedly took a trip in spring 2025 to this remote area in Santa Barbara County, was there for several hours. TMZ does warn, though, that they haven't double-sourced this information, but it should be noted, we don't know when Celeste died. Reporting indicates that she may have been dead for quite some time. Steve Fisher, the private investigator who was hired by the owner of the property that David was staying at, which is near where the Tesla was found, he said there's proof of life photo of Celeste from January 2025. Publicly, though, there have been no confirmed videos or photos of Celeste since 2024. Now, all of this new reporting, I have to be clear, all of this new reporting, we can't 100% confirm if this is true. In fact, E! News claims they contacted the LAPD for comment, but a spokesperson said they couldn't confirm this reporting because this is an ongoing active investigation. This idea that David is a suspect, that is backed up also by NBC4 Los Angeles, who says they spoke to an LAPD source with direct knowledge of the investigation. By the way, the same source who confirmed that David is no longer cooperating with law enforcement in this case. Again, that
No longer cooperating. I know you guys hate when I say this, but that is guilt. Okay. I'm not trying to hear this discussion of, oh, well, he doesn't want to get framed. Bro, he had something to do with this. Now the question really is the motive and who exactly took part in the physical act of taking her life. Because there's no way David just had nothing to do with this. There's just there's no way. It doesn't make any sense, right? So now the questions are again, how much did he have to do with this? Did he do it himself? Did he hire somebody to do it? Um, you know, this is what we're looking to know now. And you also want to know what the details of their relationship were. You know that they had a relationship because they have the same tattoo as each other. They have matching tattoos. Um, I believe they have been confirmed to have like photos together and things like that. So they knew each other. They had a relationship of some kind. Um, and there's just another thing I don't get, man. There's something weird mentally going on here where you got grown men, especially like rich and famous grown men, who just cannot seem to stay away from children. Like you can't go find yourself a grown woman somewhere. I don't I don't understand it. What exactly is so attractive to you about a girl that looks like Celeste looks like a child? In every picture that they show, she looks like a child. She's not one of those 16, 17-year olds that men are like, "Oh, she looked older and then she told me she was 18." No. First of all, that's weird too, but second of all, like you can't even use that excuse right here, right? Like Celeste looked like a child. She looked like she was a freshman in high school, which is probably exactly what she was. Um I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's really strange to me, you know. Um I don't get it. I'm 31. I'm 31 years old. Um Children look like children to me. Right? There is absolutely no way to spin it. Children look like children. What are we doing? This is just weird. It's just all weird.
That's the allegation. LAPD hasn't come out and said that officially, but we got to talk about this. And I actually want to read you, before I even get into that, I want to read you a direct quote from NBC4 Los Angeles. Quote, police tell NBC4 investigates that Celeste's death likely occurred in the spring and that David likely had help in dismembering and disposing of the body. To be clear again, no arrests have been made as of yet, okay? Why this is so confusing, aside from what I just mentioned with TMZ reporting that LAPD told them there's no imminent arrests, LAPD told KTLA, what was it, last week, that they stand by their prior news release. That, quote, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not yet determined the cause or manner of Ms. Rivas Hernandez's death. As such, it remains unclear whether there's any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body. So is the reporting suggesting that he is the suspect in the concealment of the body, something more? And by the way, that is true. When it comes to the ME, it doesn't appear that there is a change, that this manner and cause of death have been listed or have been determined. Once that comes in, though, once the toxicology results come in, we're going to have a better understanding of what happened here. But according to ABC, their sources say the ME will, in fact, make a determination soon. And ABC News is reporting that according to sources, Celeste, this girl from Lake Elsinore, California, who was reported missing last year, her body was dismembered when it was found in that car, and that the dismemberment and the disposal likely involved more than one person, and that law enforcement have been in touch with several people who are somehow connected or involved in this case. What do we make of this? Let me bring in Colin L. Schmidt.
Yeah, before we do that, so um I know where you're going with the biological thing. However, no. Right? We can have biological urges all we want, but there's still a self-control element that comes into it. And there's still a I guess a analytical element that comes into it. Where you you know that this is a child. I don't care about biology and anatomy. You know this is a child. Like, no. Go find an adult to have relations with. Go find an adult. Like David is what? How old is this man? Let me see. David is 20 years old. You mean to tell me he can't go find an 18-year-old girl somewhere? He's 20. He can't go find an 18-year-old? You mean to tell me he had to like, Super Kelly, from what you're saying, he started messing with her when she was 12, in which case he would have been 18? Bro, that's still a 12-year-old. That is a 12-year-old. That is strange behavior. She's 12. Like, she just got out of elementary school. That's crazy work. That is crazy work. It's yeah, it's one of those things where, like, when, because I'm of the mindset too that I like to kind of look at the psychology of why people make certain decisions that they make. Um, kind of like put a reason to it. It helps the world not feel like such an evil place when things have an explanation. So I get where you're coming from. My issue is, even if that's biological, then there comes a decision that goes with that, right? That's a lot of work to be with and hide a relationship with a 12-year-old girl. Um, it's just it's strange. It's very, very strange. And again, like, she's at the time where, it seems like they first started talking to each other, she's just out of elementary school. Like, that's weird. That's really weird. I don't know. It's just it's kind of strange. Like, my wife and I, full disclosure, we met for the first time when I was a senior in high school and she was a freshman in high school, and we were just friends at that time. I thought she was cute, she thought I was cute, but we're just friends at the time. We didn't get in a relationship of any kind until like a whole year later. And that's because we had developed a like, she was my best friend. Um and it was only like we're only 3 years apart. Um and so, that's like the farthest that I would ever go, right? I would have never been a senior in high school looking at an 8th grader or a 7th grader. That's what we're dealing with here. Um, you know, it's a little strange. It's a little strange. My wife and I just met each other early. Um, you know, like, nobody's gonna bat an eye if you're 24 with a 21-year-old, 21 with an 18-year-old, like that. We just found each other early. That's all that was. But we're talking about an 18-year-old that met somebody that was fresh out of elementary school, going into 7th grade. You gotta feel like that's a little bit too far of a gap, right? And obviously, it probably was a little bit too far of a gap, because now what we're seeming to deal with here is a relationship that maybe was going a little bit too public for David's liking, for maybe one reason or another. Obviously, I don't want to speculate too much, but usually when something like this happens, it's because maybe somebody wants to go public with something in the relationship. Like, maybe Celeste um found out that she was pregnant or something, or maybe she wanted to be a public item with David and she was applying pressure. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see any other reason why he would have done something like this. It's just it's very complex. Like, I think this is going to take a while for information to come out, information to be developed, and the story to really be told. But he is a suspect now, as he should be. He really should be, because I think we all knew from the jump that everything he was doing was suspicious. Like, he was leaving his house, and like, he was like cutting all ties with everything that could have been that could have had anything to do with this whole situation. He seemed to be cutting ties with it. And yeah, it was looking pretty strange.
Retired FBI agent, president, CEO of Kronos Litigation Experts. Thank you so much for coming on. What does it mean to be a suspect? Let's start there. What's the definition of a suspect?
Well, a suspect means they have predicated an investigation in the person. So that's kind of lower, or a reasonable suspicion. So they have a reasonable suspicion that the person may be involved in a crime. They don't necessarily have probable cause or beyond a reasonable doubt, but right now they're at the point of reasonable suspicion. So now that means they're ramping up their resources to really lean in on this person, if in fact they are a suspect, because that has not been confirmed officially by LAPD.
Would they confirm it? Like, you think they'll come out today, tomorrow, and say, yes, he's a suspect?
No, they're not going to do that. In fact, I'm sure the district attorney's office is a bit irritated that these leaks are coming out.
Exactly. I don't think they wanted David to know that this is where TMZ gets like really irritating, because they do this a lot. Like a lot of news stations do this. If you guys watch that Night Stalker documentary, one of the biggest things that they talked about was the news stations and that one reporter who just would not keep her mouth shut. And they're like, bro, we're trying to take a serial killer off the street, and you're just trying to get your next story. And you're about to blow this entire investigation because you're going to mention the fact that we are looking for somebody who wears this specific shoe. Why are you publishing that? Why are you even thinking about publishing that? More people are going to die because of you, because you want your story that bad. Like, this isn't a game. This isn't something you use for your promotion. Like, TMZ does that a lot. They like I respect the fact that when they say something, 9 times out of 10 they're correct about it. Right? You can take what TMZ says to the bank. Like 100%. Like when they say something, it's real. Um I didn't believe that Hulk Hogan was dead until TMZ reported it. Like once TMZ says it, yeah, you could bet your money that it's correct. The issue is they do it in such a distasteful way. They blow investigations. They announce people's death before the family even knows. It's a serious problem with how they conduct their business, but they're not going to stop because it's brought them success for a very long time. But the issue is it's the respect, man. It's the respect, and karma may find them in ways that the world will never see. But it's a problem. It's been something that I've had an issue with for a while. So, but that's all I wanted to do on the David one. Like I said, uh we're getting more and more information about David and his potential involvement. Potential involvement. I don't think we're big enough here on Alphonso Speaks yet to catch any lawsuits, but you just got to be careful. You got to be careful. Oh man, it is so hard being a Washington Wizards fan. We are down by 25 at halftime, and it's normal. Anyway, back to what's going on with the Epstein files. So the Senate and the House have unanimously approved the bill to release the Epstein files. Um, Donald Trump, uh, after seeming to do a lot of damage control at first, has seemingly reversed course and said, go ahead and release the files. I'll sign it. I'll support it. And people are speculating multiple reasons why that could have happened. They're saying that one or two things are going on. Number one, he either thought that the Senate wouldn't unanimously approve the bill, and that would give him leverage to say, hey, I can't sign this. It wasn't unanimously approved by the Senate. I can't do it. Or they're saying that him and his administration have scrubbed the files. Now, I don't know if that would be possible, right? To scrub the files. We're talking like tens of thousands of pages of documents in this Epstein case. I don't think it would be that easy to scrub everything. I'm thinking more so it was the first theory that it's possible he thought that the Senate was not going to vote the way that they did, but they unanimously voted to release the Epstein files. And so I think by next week we are going to have a lot of information coming down. And to be completely honest with you, I'm really not relying on the major news networks for it. Independent media has been doing such a great job in recent years of reporting um, the actual news, the actual truth, the actual details of situations. That I'm not watching Fox. I'm not watching MSNBC. I can't stand either one of them because they are extremely biased to one side or the other, and I just don't think that does any favors for anybody, right? Like, I don't need to turn on MSNBC and just hear them talking about how horrible of a person Donald Trump is. That's not really helping me understand anything that's going on or make progress in the ways that I'm thinking or what I need to do for myself and my family. It's a whole bunch of hoopla, basically. And the same with Fox News, like, oh man, the Democrats are just so evil. They're doing this, they're doing that. Shut up. Just everybody just shut up. Um, but yeah, it looks like Trump will be signing. I do like NBC News. I do like NBC News. I know some people still, I mean, can't please everybody, but NBC News is typically pretty fair. NBC Nightly News at least. So let's see what they have to say.
President Trump now set to sign a bill to force the release of Justice Department files related to Jeffrey Epstein, starting the clock for the DOJ with 30 days to comply.
We will continue to follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting victims.
But how much material, if any, could become public? While the bill compels the department to share records like flight logs, sealed settlements, and more, it contains caveats, letting the DOJ redact files for victims' privacy and withhold certain information that would jeopardize an active federal investigation.
Boom, that was the third theory. So you guys remember he also said something last week. He sent out a post on Truth Social basically saying that he had ordered the DOJ, Pam Bondi, to open an investigation into the Democrats that were in the Epstein files. Another theory is that now he's saying go ahead and release them because anything that's in the files that they don't want to get out, they can just say, oh, this is part of an active investigation, so we can't release it. And there's really no timeline of which they have to end the investigation. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, right? Like when we start talking about transparency, we start talking about who's actually leading us and who's serving the people. This is where I get concerned because now we're having serious discussions about why are you not releasing all the information if you're innocent? If you have nothing to hide, why are you jumping through all these hoops to do these different things, these different technicalities to prevent information from coming out? And why do you keep saying, President Trump, that you had nothing to do with Epstein when there's plenty of pictures of you and him hanging out all the time? Plenty of pictures of you guys hanging out. You can't say you didn't know him or you didn't have anything to do with him. We're not stupid. Nobody is stupid. Um, and a lot of even his supporters are starting to get riled up and question things like that. And it's like a matter of like how do you think you can continue to hide this? So you guys got to understand, this is the age of Aquarius. I don't know if you guys believe in astrology or not. Not my problem if you don't, but if you pay attention to astrology, you'll know that this time period right here, right now that we're living in is called the age of Aquarius. Look up the age of Aquarius if you don't know what that is. It's when truth becomes illuminated. Truth can no longer hide in the dark. It has to come out. It will come out. And we're seeing that in a lot of ways. You guys saw Prince Andrew over in the UK get stripped of all his titles and all of his privileges of being a royal. Why? Because he was found in the Epstein files. You also saw Larry Summers recently stepping down from his positions. Why? Because of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. You think it stops there? No. No, there's going to be a lot that comes out. The question really is, well, two questions. Not if it comes out, but when it comes out. And also on top of that, what happens after it comes out? What do the American people do? What do we do as a people? Like what's our next step? Right? Okay, we got these files. Now what? That's the question. That's the question. And that's where it's going to get very interesting. That's where it's going to get very interesting, guys. So I'm actually about to head out myself. I just wanted to jump on the live. I'm going to be jumping on lives much, much, much more often because that's how we're going to continue to build this channel, is through the live streams. I know that. I just haven't been doing it. Just trying to get a schedule, man. It's difficult sometimes, you know. Got 2 kids that need a lot of attention. So I'm working on that though. I'm working on that. We have the live stream on Friday, the Jackson Sparks Foundation live stream, 6 p.m. Friday evening. All proceeds going to the Jackson Sparks Foundation. So make sure you guys are there. Any of you who are watching this after the live has ended, just make sure you guys are there. And let's do something special for that Jackson Sparks Foundation. All right, guys.